March 27th, Mercedes is here.
There you go.
Yay. I made it.
Years ago. And it was the biggest building in the Tri-Cities at the time. And I had a stint with a firm there who will remain unnamed because we had a big falling out over this deal. And they had this listing and they brought me in to be their commercial guy.
What's happening?
And they had this listing and the asking price was $10 million. It was based on a 10% cap rate. And the building, I think, was like 52,000 square feet. And like 2,000 or 3,000 square feet it was leased. The whole thing was see-through. And I go, well, how did you come up with your price? And they go, oh, we used a 10 cap. I go, yeah, but there's no income. How do you capitalize nothing?
Okay.
So I was like, oh my God, this is a problem. So we ended up having, I'll make this pretty short. We ended up having this meeting with sellers. And I remember this because it was two members of the LDS from Utah. And I used to live in Utah. So that was kind of my little secret weapon. And the guy was a CPA and a lawyer. He was the trustee and the decedent sister was there. And the thing that I'd figured out was they own the building free and clear. Okay. And so it's easier to negotiate price reductions when you're not, making people sell short. Anyway, the listing price was $10 million. And I told the broker, I go, there's just no way, dude. This is just not going to happen. And so I did my own little homework and repriced it on a comparable sale and replacement cost approach. It was about 6. And so we walked into this meeting and I didn't see, this is the thing about negotiating. Okay. And people don't understand this. The biggest investment you can get your counterpart to invest in is not money, it's time. These guys have been working on this for almost a year. I've been working on it for an hour. So I was like, I don't give a shit if it works or not. I go, this building's worth $6 million and that's what it'll sell for. So I go into this meeting and brokers we're all suited up and all this. And of course, it's like the two dogs at the park and doing the alpha thing. And who are you? And why should I listen to you? And I'm like, well, don't listen to me. I don't care. I've been doing this for 20 years, man. Anyway, we got to part of the meeting. I said, well, Mr. Trustee, sir, your building's worth about 6.5 million. And I mean, it was one of those could have heard a pin drop moments. And he looked at me and he goes, I think you can sell it for that much? And I said, yeah. He goes, okay. I mean, it was just the funniest thing about those things. And I'm curious what you think, Pete. It's such a head trip that we all go through. Oh my God, all the hand-wringing, all the consternation and all the forethought and future tripping. When it comes down to it, it's like every other GD decision any human makes in their life. It's a yes or a no. That's all it is. And it happens in a moment because that's how decisions work.
The conversation, I basically just outlined the things we couldn't change. I gave them context on what the market's doing, and I asked them what their goal is. And ultimately, they want to get the place sold. Otherwise, it's going to go back in the rental pool. And, what I also know is that, they don't want to put it back in the rental pool. They want to sell it and move on. So,
yeah.
And it's to your point, you don't need to posture, you need to listen too. Like these, these are the facts.
Well, and I would also say that, every situation is different. So I want to get into SWOT analysis, but thank you for bringing this up, Pete. And we got some stuff to write down today. So since I brought the magic tablet and Kelly, I've been working on my handwriting for the last 7.5 weeks. I hope it's better. It probably won't be, but I'm going to just give her a try here. Okay.
I think typing is your strong suit. Typing.
I'm working on building my skills, Kelly.
Oh, ooh, look at that word. Wow.
That's how people make decisions. Everybody, every time, there are no exceptions. I've done tons of homework on this. People make decisions emotionally and justify rationally. So the best salesmen don't sell the numbers, they sell the feelings. Okay. And I'll just leave it at that. That's just a little negotiation nugget. Okay. So thanks again for showing up today. As always, I am going to be trying a little bit of a different format starting today because I spent most of my week editing and I got almost all of 2025 done. I'm on the last video today, and then I'll catch up with 2026 and then it'll be good to go. So in the spirit of trying to build this collateral and to have stuff that I can post that I think is post worthy, hopefully, the way I'm going to start doing these is I'm going to introduce every topic with a video lecturette, which will be somewhere between 6-ish and 10-ish minutes. And that'll be the opening salvo for every seminar or every webinar rather. And then that's something that I can put up on the YouTube and other propagandas things later and so forth. But I want to show you as well, and I'd really like everybody to check this out and do a subscription for me because I spent a bunch of time working on this. And that is this, Spotify. So if you go to Spotify and you type in, does it pencil? Right here, the Does It Pencil podcast.
Is Spotify free or you have to?
Yeah, it is. It is free. Mm-hmm. So for today, what I want to talk about is SWOT analysis, SWOT. And I came into my office last night and I made you this super awesome little video. So I'm going to start with this. It's about 10 minutes. We'll watch this and then we'll talk about it. All right. In this video, what I want to talk about is something called SWOT analysis. SWOT. It stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So we're going to make some notes in just a minute here. So have pen and paper as always for the Does It Pencil webinar. But what I want to start out with is just kind of a basic understanding, just a general statement about what SWOT is and what you should use it for. So SWOT is a point of view. It is a paradigm. It's a way of seeing things. And probably the easiest way to analogize SWOT analysis is it's like that 50,000 foot point of view. Okay. It's a way to look down and see yourself and your relationship to your environment. And you can use it individually or you can use it collectively. A lot of companies use it. I learned about SWOT when I was an undergraduate in business school in the 80s. So it's been around for a while. Okay. And the thing about things around for a while is they're around for a while because they tend to work. Okay. And we have all the clouds and the AI and all the other stuff, but people are still people. Okay. And so SWOT is a people kind of a thing. So let's make some notes. Okay. So first of all, let's get the words right. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. All right, so the first thing about SWOT to understand, the first real big element, is that 2 of them are internal and 2 of them are external. So the internals are the strengths and weaknesses, and the externals are obviously the opportunities and the threats. All right. So internals and externals. And the thing about internals is that these are things that you can control. And externals are things that you can't control. So really the fulcrum and the domain of SWOT analysis is this control thing. Now I'll give you some examples in just a minute about different strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. But the first real grounding piece is 2 are internal, 2 are external. And this is really all about what you can control and what you can't control. Some people understand things better in pictures. All right, so let's just take a minute here and draw a very simple 4-square graph just to further define and further explain what SWOT analysis is. So let's set it up this way. Let's do strengths. And the weaknesses to the right of that. And then opportunities and threats. So if we turn this into a 4-square grid, it would look something like this, okay? Now, these strengths and opportunities, you can think of these as helpful. And the weaknesses and threats, these would be harmful. So that's the way the y-axis goes. On the x-axis, these are internal strengths and weaknesses, as I said before, and the opportunities and threats are external. All right, so that's a pretty simple 4-square kind of a graph, word picture sort of a thing to help you further understand in your mind's eye what we're doing with this SWOT analysis thing. All right, now let's take some specific words and apply them to SWOT. So we really get a little bit better understanding, a little bit better definitional quality of what this SWOT thing is all about, okay? And so to do this, I'm just going to make up 2 examples, one for a business or a company and one for personal. And I'll be a little tongue-in-cheek about the personal one, but it might go something like this. So I put down my strengths. My weaknesses. Opportunities and my threats. So let's do business first. What would be a business strength? Well, a business strength might be my brand. Okay, and that's usually a pretty important one. And what might be a weakness? Lack of capital. So I can't expand my business. What might be an opportunity? Well, solving problems is always a good one. Maybe you have something you can solve somebody's problem. And a pretty common threat, an external, might be the government. So that's a pretty simple example of what a business SWOT analysis might look like. Now, I think that another really strong utility of SWOT is being able to use it personally. Okay, so like I said, be a little tongue-in-cheek on this one. So let's take a look at a personal one. And let's be specific. Let's talk about me being in a relationship. Okay, so one of my strengths might be that I'm really funny. Okay, that's a strength. That's an internal. And a weakness might be I don't listen very well. So an opportunity might be, let's just say therapy. That's always a good opportunity because that's an external. I don't have control of what happens in the therapy process. I mean, I kind of do, but it's led by somebody else. And a threat might be my partner leaving me. Okay? So again, the first 2 I can control, the second 2 I cannot control. All right, I want to finish up my little lecturette here about SWOT by giving you just a couple things to think about, okay? And these are notes that you definitely should make and write down. So let's talk first about your response. Okay, and I'm going to put / here, your decisions, because SWOT really is best taken as a decision-making tool. So as I said, strengths and weaknesses. These are internal. And these you can change. Okay? Now remember what I said. The fulcrum of this thing is control. So your strengths and weaknesses are things about yourself that you can actually do something about. These are the things that you can change. The second part, the opportunities and the threats, these are external. And these you can only respond. Now, some people are going to say, oh, well, I can control my response. Well, that's true. But you can't control the circumstances. You can't control the situation because opportunities and threats are external. So all you have left with those really is your response. Okay? So one more time, strengths and weaknesses, internal, you can control those. Opportunities and threats, external, you can only respond to those, okay? And one last thought about SWOT analysis. This should be selective, not exhaustive. All right, so the last thing I'm going to say about SWOT analysis is this. You should use this selectively, not exhaustively. Now, those two words kind of juxtapose science and art, okay? I mean, it's up to you to decide how you're going to use this, but use it, however, don't use it as a hammer to beat yourself up with. And don't just spend, weeks, months, and years in doing this, okay? Take the appropriate time, but remember, it's a decision-making tool, so make the decision and get on with it. Okay. Mercedes, what'd you think about that video?
I liked it. I've been doing like a similar exercise without naming it. So I like to have some structure around that.
Good. Yeah, the one thing I noticed, you guys, I mentioned last week, there's a brand new office space for me. But I was listening to that thumping bass sound. I think it was the snap on my jacket because the microphone's right next to it. So that has been noted and that will be taken care of. But Matthew, what did you think of the video on SWOT analysis?
It's very good, Joe. I mean, for many years, I think the last time we did some courses on strength analysis when I was in college, and that is way back. So thank you for bringing it up again.
Yeah, good. Craig, what did you think of it?
Oh, I actually love this stuff. It's it's stuff I've been thinking about a lot lately because I've had a lot of changes going on in my life and my career. And the basics never get old. So this is really valuable. And I like the acronym because it's easy to remember. And so thank you for addressing this.
Have you seen this before?
I have. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's been around for a while. Jock, what did you think of our little video production there?
I've been a little bit of training when I was in education, and it's been a while since I thought about it, and I'm appreciative that you brought it back up because it's pretty timely for what I've got going on.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting how those of us are, a little bit further along in life, a lot of people, especially who went to college, have heard of this before. It's just been a long time. And I thought about that last night as well. This is a good topic. It's always good every once in a while to go back to the basics. There was a brief moment in time when I played competitive basketball. I wasn't very good. I had to swim instead. But layup shots and free throw, those are just, when you do that sport, you think those are the easiest shots in the world until you get in the game. And those are the ones that are the clutch shots. So you practice them over and over and over. Right. Okay. Pete, you got anything to throw down real quick before I go on to the next move here?
Well, I Googled it real quick, SWAT, just to see what came up. And obviously it's all over AI and everything. There's some really cool graphics for that. Like Craig said, I'm doing a lot of this self-evaluation right now myself. And so I think it's super valuable. I would maybe, but the only feedback on the video is it kind of at a point seemed like it was a little bit long. Like you could almost break it down into shorter modules, a little more bite size, because that's just for me.
It's fine. And you can leave. It's fine. Just kidding. Yeah, I mean, you guys know I do the video thing too. And that's always the thing about video is the Goldilocks question, too much, too little, just right. With this video, and I did this on purpose, I really wanted to repeat the 4 words enough just to give enough impression, but it's a good comment. Okay. Here's what we're going to do next. I'm going to throw you guys into breakout rooms in pairs, just randomly. And what I want you to do in this first session, I'm going to give you about 6 minutes. I want you to talk amongst yourselves, and I want you to do your very best in the first 6 minutes to come up with, for both of you, what do you think is, on a personal level, your biggest strength and your biggest weakness? Okay, so this first part's going to be personal. I'm just going to rando you guys and see what we come up with.
Mercedes, is that mirror shaped like that, or is it
Yeah,
broken?
it is. It is.
Oh.
I got that from a client for like $25. I was so happy. That is some of my favorite shopping when you're getting rid of stuff.
Oh gosh, I'm constantly bringing crap home.
I do go.
I guess that's better than bringing crack home.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like I'm constantly trying to get rid of stuff, and then every time I have a closing, I bring more crap home with me. It's like, geez.
Oh man, I am like the uber minimalist, let me tell you.
Yeah. That's why your whiteboard is empty.
That's right.
Good for you.
I was gonna say it'd be cool if you would draw stick figures and like change them up.
Right.
I know.
Well, no, I did have I'm so self-critical that when I write on it, I cringe because I hate my writing.
Oh, it can't be worse than Joe's. It can't. Nobody's.
Hey, by the way, guys, I'm gonna put my contact information in the chat. So if anyone's interested in following up with me, and Anthony, if you wouldn't mind, reach out to me when you have a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to this microphone. I don't know. Who knows? But it was good listening to you. Okay. Pete, let's start with you. What is your biggest strength?
My biggest strength is probably self-awareness and self-discipline. They kind of dovetail together. As you know, I've been on this journey of personal growth, professional development, lifelong learning, student leadership for 25 plus years.
Yeah, I know you have. That's good. Okay. Anthony, what's your biggest strength?
My biggest strength is I keep getting back up on that horse.
Okay. Perseverance. Mr. Coe, what is one thing you need to work on?
Well, I thought it was a strength and a weakness. Is sometimes I will just keep doing things, trying to make it perfect when it really just needs to get done.
We call you guys recovering perfectionists. Yeah.
And sometimes just get it done and be
Yeah,
happy.
I was talking to a very good friend of mine about that once because he's the same way. It's just how some people are. And his name's John. I said, you know, John, what you have to learn to get used to is the idea of good enough.
Yeah. Joe, I tell people, you know, I tell myself that all the time. You know what? This is ridiculous. It's good enough. Get it posted. And then one friend will criticize something. And I'd be like, you know what? Come on. It's good enough. Like, geez.
Is your friend's name Pete? That was a joke. Mercedes, what's one thing you need to work on a little bit?
I need to work on my procrastination.
Oh.
And you know, it's so funny because when I was in you know, like when I had a day job, oh my God, it's like we would pull all-nighters and all this crap. And I mean, I don't want to go there again, but there is a happy medium here.
Okay, so I'm going to give you and everybody a little bit of a homework assignment, okay? Why don't you look up the Stephen Covey
I've heard it.
planning quadrants.
How do you spell Covey?
Is that the-
C-O-V-Y.
Is that the 7 Habits book?
Yeah, it's from the 7 Habits book, and it juxtaposes two ideas, okay? Urgency and importance. And he gives you 4 different quadrants. And spoiler alert, the one you want to be in is quadrant 2, which is where things are not urgent, but they are important. And that's where the domain of planning lives. And really, I think SWOT analysis is a quadrant 2 activity. You know, you do this to kind of set your ship, and oh, Pete's already got it there.
Oh,
See?
Pete.
Yeah, that's what it is. He'll be running our webinar next
And he
week,
had
by
it
the
right
way.
there too.
Yeah, that's good.
Amazing.
One of my favorite books ever.
I've
Okay.
listened to this audiobook 50 times, 50.
What is the book called? I missed it.
The 7 Habits of Highly Effective
Oh,
People.
that one. Yeah, I've heard of that book.
So this is the newest edition, which has commentary by Covey's son.
Mhm.
And so all the chapters are now introduced and epilogued by his son. And it's on audio, it's on Audible. It's an epic listen on Audible.
Mhm.
His son is probably now in his 50s and lost his daughter to suicide. And he tells that story. It's really powerful.
Yeah. Good people from Orem, Utah. Okay, we got one more breakout to do, and I'm going to try to randomize you again. This time, what I want you to do is to think about your business that you work in and the environment in your business. And I want you to come up with one opportunity and one threat. Okay? One opportunity and one threat. Okay, Mr. Matthew, what is one opportunity that you see in your future?
Yes, I pick my other business, home care. We are all going to get old. So, and we'll need a place. That's a big opportunity.
You know, I've talked about that a little bit on this call, and it was about a year and a half ago. I did some due diligence on it and then just didn't do anything about it. Sometimes that happens. But you're what, about 25 or 30? So you got some runway in front of you. You got time, man. Well, you look like you're 25
I'm
or 30.
61 years
No,
old.
you're not. You liar. You are not. There's no way anybody could have teeth as good as yours and be 61.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
impossible.
Yeah, I would have thought 40. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, here I was all proud of myself. Most people think I'm like 52. Okay, great. Well, anyway,
He
nonetheless.
can't be. He's got to be lying.
He is lying.
Oh, well, okay, good.
Okay. So we've established this act.
I
that
know
we cannot
what
trust you.
planet am I on? Okay, all right.
Okay. But nonetheless, hey, good point, man. And I'm not going to get on the whole macroeconomic thing right now. I'll just say this. Everybody on this call has experienced life in the most prosperous time ever in history because of the baby boom, because of the consumption and the growth of the economy and the innovation, all the rest of that. And that boom is an arc. So I'm 64 and I'm at technically the tail end. Somebody needs to go onto mute here. I'm technically at the tail end of that demographic phenomenon. Okay. So you're absolutely right, Matthew. And, there's two things that ain't cheap. Dying. Dying is not cheap. That's why I mentioned the Neptune Society. And also the last, few years of your life, depending on what cards you're dealt. And the other thing is memory care. Memory care is going to actually be a much more predominant segment of elder care as we age,
Amen.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
Yeah.
So about a month ago, I was in the gym and there was this couple of guys that are 15. They're all going like this and doing all the, young guy stuff. And I look at them, I go, let me ask you guys a question. I go, you ever walked into a room and can't forget why you walked in? Look at me, go, no. I go, you will.
It's coming.
It's coming. That was pretty funny. Okay. Greg, what is one threat that you see in the future?
Wow. Yeah, we were talking about business, one threat. For me personally, it's basically if it's kind of business as well, but it's focus, right? For me, I'm kind of stretched between two different opposing concepts, right? There's my real estate business, but that's not exactly, and that kind of feeds my pocketbook, but then it doesn't feed my soul. So I have a whole artistic thing going on too. So how do you stay focused on both of those in the right way so that you can reap the benefits of both?
Yeah, and that's a conundrum that I deal with too. I would argue this though. That is a balance of strengths and weaknesses. The threats would be external things you cannot control.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's the world you live in, and I wish you well finding that. More than one artist has, had to deal with, should my avocation be my vocation? Right? You're not the only one, man. And that's a tough one. It's tough. Jacques, what do you see as a, okay, just a second. I'm gonna ask Jacques first. What do you see as a threat, Jacques?
Well, Joe, I'm been retired for 5 years, so I don't really have a business as applied to, but as far as personal life, that memory care thing, that's why I'm retired, and that it's nothing you can do about. You just deal with it.
Yeah. Yep. That's a tough one. We'll see if AI figures that one out. In the meantime, Kelly, what do you see as a threat?
I just feel like it's world events. It just seems like everything goes up and down on a daily basis, depending on world events. And, we got down to 5.99% interest a month and a half ago, and now we're up because of world events. And it's like, dang, every time I feel like, okay, now we're going to get going on a good year, then something happens. And I'm like, shoot, it just like start, stall. So that's kind of a threat to my business, I think.
Has anybody here ever heard of a fellow named Mick Mulvaney? You ever heard of that guy?
I think so.
Okay, so he's a congressman, and he was President Trump's chief of staff in his first term, 2016. Nobody stays the whole time with Trump, but I think he was there for 2 or 3 years. Anyway, I was listening to an interview with him the other day. It's pretty interesting. And Mick Mulvaney, if you ever look him up, he is one sharp, smart, well-spoken man. He's a great media presence. And I was saying that notwithstanding his politics with, you agree or disagree, that's up to you. But anyway, but what we said was in the first Trump administration, they were very focused on the equity markets, because when you get elected president the first term, you're automatically running for a second term. Okay. But he said this time in Trump's second term, they're not focused on the equity markets. They're focused on the bond market. Okay. So what that means is, and bonds are what mortgages are tied to. It is in the real estate industry's better interest, and it's in Trump's legacy personal better interest to get this Iran thing over as soon as possible. Okay. Because that will quiet the bond market down. Okay. And the other thing that we'll deal with in probably the next 60 days is a new chairman of the Federal Reserve. It'll be very interesting about that. And it's a great point, Kelly. You're absolutely right. Geopolitical events are completely out of our control, and yet we have to deal with them. And some might say we're the victim of them, depending on your point of view. But it'll be very interesting to see how this new chairman of the Fed plays it, because we're walking that tightrope between interest rates and inflation. And if we lower interest rates too much, it can heat inflation up. And the target of the Fed is supposed to be keeping inflation at 2%. So, stay tuned. But I think we're going to be in for a very interesting next couple of months. And, my counsel to people buying real estate now is lock on the dip. Lock on the dip. Okay. Well, that was kind of fun, huh? Yeah, that went much better this time than the first breakout that we did some negotiation thing. So that's good. All right. I'm going to give you a couple closing thoughts and you guys get the last word. I love the fact that a couple of you brought up that, I've heard this before, but I haven't done it for a while. So this is one of those things that I think is a good quarterly or semi-annual thing. And the other application that I think can work with this is in personal relationships. If people are willing to be honest, look at yourself, look at how 2 or 3 or more people exist in the world as a community, and just kind of step on that ladder and look down and course correct as needed. So I think SWOT analysis has a lot of utility for sure. All right. Okay. Michael, you got anything else?
I enjoyed this. This was it's like a reminder, and being old, we're plugging away. Like, we can do this often.
Yeah. Awesome. Craig, you got anything?
No.
Okay. Anthony?
I sat in class all week, and I'd much rather sit in one of your presentations. So thank you.
No, thanks for showing up, man. It's been good having you here. Keep coming back, as they say. Jacques, what else you got?
Just an appreciation of today's topic, Joe. Like I said, I've had been through it before, but it was fun to get to know another member of the group a little more than I would have had the opportunity to do otherwise.
Take care, everybody, and God bless you. We'll see you next week.